All rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, the supervisors held an executive session to discuss personal matters on Wednesday, 12/17/25. Just want to put that into the record. Are there any citizens' comments concerning the agenda items at this point?
Yes. Yes. Sorry, it's not.
No?
Yes, I do. Where, do I just talk
Oh,
from here?
I just need your name.
Hannah Butterwick.
And your address?
Oh, okay.
16
Yep.
Druid Hills Drive,
Okay.
Shavertown. Good, is that all you need?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm just commenting on a few things. At the beginning, just, regarding this new role and everything, but as residents of Dallas Township, we want to go to work and raise our children and have hobbies and not worry about what you guys are doing here. The fact that so many people are suddenly interested should show you guys that you're not doing a very good job of making us feel comfortable and safe. We don't want to be here at 10:30 a.m. on New Year's. I learned in school that lack of planning on your part does not constitute an emergency on my part, and that's what came to mind when this emergency meeting was called. You responded on Facebook by saying that you had to do this meeting to pass the budget. Did you not know that the budget was not passed yet at the last meeting? If you knew you had to pass a budget, then the meeting should have been called in advance. Your planning leaves a lot to be desired, and do not doubt our ability to remember this. And although we've been disappointed in your lack of clarity and communication the past few months, especially around data centers, you guys still have the ability to turn this around. I would love if you got in front of this and started reassuring us and started communicating more about the real context behind these line items when you release these agendas that we have no idea what that means. We voted you in because we trusted you and because we don't want to come to these meetings. You guys are supposed to look after our best interests. This new position that you posted needs to have clarity as to why this is needed. How many taxpayer dollars does this need? Why, after all these years of being without this position, do we suddenly need this at the same time that we're discussing data centers? And if it's not anything to do with data centers, then please explain the timing and the need for it. And explain who is doing the grants work right now that will suddenly not be doing it once this position is filled, that they will be doing it. And I'm just gonna tell you how it looks to all of us. It looks like you're appointing someone to say data centers are good for the economy, to take the heat off. And I'm also officially requesting a copy of the bylaws that I couldn't find online. I'm concerned about line item number 3 with the supervisor roles as liaisons for different departments. This, as it is written, would cause a concentration of power and it would be an overreach. The idea is to have these different roles in place to have separation of power for checks and balances, and putting you guys as liaisons over certain departments would ruin that. That's all.
Okay, there was a lot of questions in there. I think about the data centers, you're saying about the transparency and what we're doing about the data centers. The data centers, first thing we're doing is we're having a public meeting, correct?
There will be a public hearing on.
On the 16th of
14th.
January.
14.
It's on 14.
14th of January to discuss that. We're gonna take input from the community, of course, on these data centers. I mean, I don't wanna speak for my other 2 supervisors, but we're not in favor of bringing data centers into Dallas Township at this point, because of the fact of the power needs and the water needs.
That's great to hear.
So
We didn't know, we didn't hear it.
I think we've expressed that a number of times.
I was on the last meeting about data centers in December online, and I
If we
didn't hear
don't,
that.
if we don't have a data center ordinance and someone comes along and makes an application, they will have much more flexibility.
Do it.
Right.
To be able to do. Having an ordinance is limiting what they can do, putting kinds of restrictions on it.
Is the time to talk about that ordinance at this January 14th meeting? Like, are you still gonna have time to revise it then, or should we email you our concerns
No,
now?
the 14th, I think, is the time when you're gonna come in and be able to talk about what your concerns are.
But
Okay.
if you have a specific concern, then you can certainly, I think you can email that in advance.
Right.
Who would be the correct party to receive that?
Right.
I would send it to you, and then you can direct it to us.
I'll make sure you
Well,
have
at
my
the
email.
Okay. I'll
Yeah.
last
send you
plan
that.
commission meeting, Marty said to email it to him. I don't see him here today.
Martin is no longer with the township.
Oh, what happened?
He retired.
That's weird.
So, you know, the data centers are still something that we're discussing at this point. You know, that's why Tom is working diligently, using some of the other townships that we've looked at and how they restricted the data centers, and I think Salem Township and so forth, to make it
beefed
tougher.
up what they have. So I don't think we're well suited for a data center,
Me
but
either.
we have to have regulations.
Absolutely.
If we don't have them, then somebody can come in and force something on us,
Absolutely.
potentially. That's what we're trying to avoid.
And now there's even situations where there's companies that have, I wanna call them, I don't wanna call them mobile nuclear plants, but these mini nuclear plants that have like 58 to 77 megawatts of power that they can just kind of plop down anywhere to do that. We've also addressed that, we're putting that into our ordinance to make sure that we don't see a little mini nuke plant somewhere up on, Dorchester Drive
Yeah,
somewhere.
exactly.
I mean, so we're concerned with that too. I mean, we live in the township too.
That's great to
And
hear.
I think overall, I don't think many people have said, boy, let's get into the data center business. I mean, we're not
And I
interested.
think we can say uncategorically, there are no applications presently for data centers.
Okay.
No one is soliciting companies for data centers.
So,
So,
at this point.
Okay.
So we're gonna work on that. In relation to like getting the budget and why, the problem is that some of our input to the budget actually comes in like, almost like
Pretty late.
pretty late. Insurances don't come in, they wait until almost the last minute to give us numbers, and they're big numbers. Like healthcare, okay? It went up 19.2% this year. And they're doing their numbers, we're working with them, and they don't give us numbers until almost like, we've had budget meetings on Christmas, New Year's Eve many times before, because we don't have significant numbers. If there were small numbers, if it was something like, oh, we're waiting for a lawyer to tell us if he's gonna charge us $125 or $150, you know, that's insignificant. But when we're looking at healthcare, that goes up approximately $150,000 to $200,000, that's a huge number. Because for every 0.1 of tax increase, that's $70,000. So if our insurance goes up $210,000, that's 0.3 increases in taxes. So we have to make sure that we get it right. So that's the reason why we have to have these meetings that late, and we don't know exactly what date they're gonna happen.
Maybe we should just schedule them for the 31st.
well, there's a 20-day notice requirement. That's why it's a flexible floating thing. And I think almost every year, as far as I recall,
Yeah.
we've had a late December meeting in order to
Well,
accomplish.
there's a lot
this.
more interest this year. I don't wanna follow you guys, so I didn't follow you last year, but now here I am.
Right.
So it's new, but I mean, maybe we could just.
This is
schedule
not
it.
unusual, and when we're ready to do it, we have to give a notice, and then the meeting has to be at least 20 days after the notice, so that's why
Mhm.
it's not something we can.
So-
And it's been
schedule
posted.
Yeah,
Pardon?
Yeah, the budget's been posted.
Yeah,
There hasn't
the
been any
budget.
changes
Well, the
from
budget
the
posted,
time you
yeah.
advertised to now, correct?
When the initial budget is posted, okay, let's say when was that, probably in November?
The tentative budget was posted in November,
In
yeah,
November.
subject to, adjustments as
Right.
additional information came in, but
So
yeah.
if you wanted to take that initial budget and come in and sit down and have even just a meeting with us and say, hey, your initial budget's here, can I look over with you, can you tell me what you're thinking is gonna happen? I mean, we'd be happy to sit down with you to do those
that
kind of
sounds
things.
terrible.
But I mean, even.
Because that's posted as
even-
well.
Even yesterday, we met with our assistant police chief, Brian Feeney, okay? We talked about training, what else he's gonna need and so forth. So, we looked at that and said, well, maybe we have to go a little bit more. Our roadmaster looked at our salt total the other day, right? And said, I'm a little concerned about the amount of salt that we're gonna be buying. I think the number was $80,000. Well, yesterday we added another $10,000 because we're worried about, Gary's worried about, are we gonna have enough salt for the roads? So that's how fluid this
So many
budget is.
moving parts, yes.
There's so many moving parts. I mean, we're talking about a $6 million, a budget, and that's
Yeah.
part of the issue. So that's why we almost have to wait this. We're not trying to hide anything, believe me. I mean, if you ever look at when we post the budget, if you have a concern, if you look and say, gee, why is, this number so low? All you have to do is call Tom and say, Tom, can you sit down with me, or you can have one of the supervisors? Be happy to do that, okay? Because we try to work with our departments. We have a couple department heads that we have to deal with. Now, Gary didn't know that he was gonna be out spreading salt in November and pushing, it was kind of one of these things, well, usually after the first of the year. But we've had how many issues have you been out already? 4?
Too many.
Too
No
many.
more than that. We've worked every day for the last 2
I've
months.
seen the trucks out almost every day.
Yeah,
And
and they're
every
doing
year
a
it's
great
like-
job.
One year, we didn't have enough salt, if I remember. Remember, we were jockeying about a couple years ago? We had no salt. He was mixing it with some cinders and so on. So those are the kinds of things that we run into. There is no intention on our part to be not transparent and sometimes you just have to ask us the questions because we don't know sometimes what you're thinking too. I mean, so, feel free anytime to contact Tom and say, hey, can you get Bill or Liz or Bob to sit down with me and talk about something? Be happy to do that. Be happy to do that. So, anyway, did I answer?
Yes, the bylaws, where can I find those?
There are no bylaws, we're governed by the
Pennsylvania code.
Okay.
second-class township code.
Okay, and then, the supervisor roles, and then the new position, which I'm assuming you guys are
We're
gonna
gonna
touch
address
on
that.
when you
Yeah, we'll
get
talk
to
about
them, so that's fine.
Okay, so let me go, number one, let's go on voting on the budget first of all. So our preliminary budget, as I mentioned, was a little over, 6 million, almost $7 million this year. We were able to balance the budget with a, small tax increase of 0.2 mils. So we're gonna go from 2.55 to 2.75. But we have excess money in our fire tax, and that's 0.5 mil, or 0.6 mils, and we're gonna drop that by 0.1 mil to 0.5 to 0.5, because we have $67,000 in our fire tax account that we have not used, and about $70,000 equals every 0.1. So the net increase in taxes for the township is 0.1, which is a 3.17% increase, which means for every $100,000 of assessment, it's about $10. So the average home in Dallas Township roughly is about between $187,000 to $200,000 of assessment. You'll see probably anywhere between a $17 to $20 increase in your taxes this year. So taxes have been pretty, kept pretty low, and we're still be able to keep the budget at a balanced budget. Our healthcare costs went up 19.2% this year. It added $150,000 to already a very expensive plan. Last year, I think we went up 9%. So healthcare, everybody reads about that. It just continues to skyrocket for us. We're also in this budget adding 1 police officer, who right now is in the academy. So one of the things that what we have tried to do as supervisors is we've tried to increase our police force. And I think when I came on 12 years ago, I think we had 10 or 11. I think, Brian, what are you gonna be up to now with the new one? 15?
15, yeah.
So we're gonna have 15 officers. My concern was, at night, we only had 1 officer. So now we're gonna have, some additional people. We have some really good young people, that are in our force, and we're really pleased with that. So that cost us about $85,000 to add that person. But we felt that it was really important to add that protection for our community. We also had in the budget, we needed a new truck in the road department. We ordered a new Freightliner. Right now, we purchased the truck, which was in this year's budget. Next year, the upfit for that, everything that needs to go is about $105,000. So that was in the budget. Phase 2 of the park, the South Street Park, will happen this year. So that will be completed in 2006, and that is in here with the bridges and the rain gardens and everything else. So that'll be completed in 2026. And then we have our usual wage increases that we have contractually, that because they are both are unionized. So the increase in the road department was 2.5%, and the increase in the police department was 3%. And that's by contract, and we have 5-year contracts with the individuals. So Tom worked very hard. This is his first year doing the budget.
Did a
And
great
I
job.
worked along with him and I was really pleased. He really worked very hard and we back and forth, stopping in to make sure we tweaked everything. We were actually able to go to our building code people where we had a 60-40 split, where they got 60%, we got 40% on any building codes and so forth. This year we get 45%. We asked them, we wanted a little bit more, so that helped our revenue. We have a lot of things happening in Dallas Township. You know, we have the potential of the offset project going, we have the potential of a hotel, we have the potential of a assisted living. So there's a lot of things going on that would require a lot of building and building permits and so forth that we're gonna be able to benefit from. So that was a help from the increase. So that's where we are with the budget. Yes, ma'am?
Can I ask you a question? The excess money that's in any line item, for example, the fire account, does that money roll over or does that have to be zeroed out?
No, that's rolling over into next year.
Okay.
That's why we're reducing the tax rate from 0.6 to 0.5.
So
Because if I put it into 0.6, if I'm not using the money, next year I might be at $130,000.
yeah, I didn't know if it was, you know, on top of or if
No,
it was anticipated.
It'll roll over. It's required in the state code that we keep a separate account for the fire tax. So it's a separate bank account that Tom has to keep for that money. And any monies that come in from those taxes goes into that account, and any disbursements for wages or equipment or general operating expense only comes from that account. So it's designated, it's just for that.
Okay, thank you.
Can I just get your name and address too, please?
Sure, Susan
Yep.
Heckman, Heckman,
Okay,
So is there any other questions on the,
37.
on the budget?
Echo Valley Drive,
okay.
Shavertown.
So this is gonna be like, Timbers Mont up, 8 Southside Ave. This ain't gonna be like 2 years ago when the fire tax, or you stopped it, and then the next year you came back higher, and then did another increase the year after.
Right.
You're gonna do, is that what's gonna happen again when you?
Well, here's what we do. Every year, we request the fire chiefs and the department to meet with us, to tell us what their needs are, okay? Why we stopped it, because we had some pushback on it a couple of years ago, why we had a fire tax. Then we came back and we decided that the fire departments, you probably remember this, we wanted to have drivers for Monday through Friday from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. And that was the first time that we ended up with I think it was a 0.45 tax increase.
It started with 3/4, then it went up to.
Right, and that was for that. Then we met with the fire company and we talked about, we're worried about the weekends because the weekends weren't covered. And that's when we increased it again to 0.6 to cover all the wages for 2 drivers at both fire departments from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. plus on the weekends. So that's what our fire chiefs have told us that supposedly is happening. In addition, we also increased the amount of money that we give for operating expenses. We used to, way back when, let's say 10 years ago, each fire department got only $15,000. Now we're giving them $60,000 each,
90.
$90,000 each for operating expenses because you know, they're running into more. Well, you know for a fact, and Russ knows for a fact, there's a lot of expenses that are related to operating a fire company. So, you know, we're supportive of that, and we're hoping that some of the other townships and boroughs around here that all the fire company service would also join in and do the same thing that we're doing, and we're not sure if they are or not. But that's important to us to have this fire tax because we think fire protection is very important. So do I have a motion to pass the 2026 budget?
You have a motion.
Have a second?
Second.
Supervisor Grant,
Yes.
Supervisor Martin,
Yes.
Supervisor Wagner.
Yes.
Okay. Number 2, we're ratifying the advertising for a Community Economic Development Director position. As was mentioned, Martin Barry has retired, and we are now looking for a Community Economic Development position. Would be partly doing some of the management position work, but also going out there to really seek grants and development in the area. We really see with all the, people coming to the back mountain, that there's a lot of activity with offset paperback and lots of other things. And a lot of people are applying for grants and so forth, and we need to apply for grants for things like parks and some of the other things we want. You know, for example, you know, one of the things that we want to do is to create a walking space from the trail in the front all the way up to the trail to connect everything, because people are walking either like on the grass or they're walking on the road, which is unsafe. So, you know, we're hopefully gonna be applying for those kinds of grants. So there's a lot of other things that we wanna do, so we felt that, you know, we wanted to, I guess you wanna say maybe beef up this job description a little bit, to say it's not just the everyday management position or manager's position, because we have found that our secretary treasurer is very competent from the standpoint of handling the day-to-day financial information and questions. He's doing a great job. And I'll give you a pat on the back there, Tom. But I think that this new position would be not only doing some of the township manager work, but really being out there in the community, also working with some of the other you know, the Rotary Club, and so some of these other people that are out there, so our community can continue to grow and do things. So that's what the position is going to be, and we're advertising. It started to be advertised, and hopefully we'll get some resumes and we'll take a look.
The deadline is Monday.
Yeah, right.
Did we get grants, sorry, for this park?
Pardon?
Did we get grants for this
We did.
park?
We got
Oh, yeah, we did.
$250,000.
Who worked on those? Was that like the township manager historically?
We all
Or
kind of-
everybody?
I initiated the original.
Yeah, Liz
Okay.
did all that.
Okay.
But we're kind of all involved. You know, you have engineers involved who give us
Yeah.
preliminary numbers and so forth. Jim Laird and his group actually designed everything and worked on some of the grants applications. So, but when you have like a Jim Laird or something to do some of those grants, we end up paying for that. Well, hopefully this person's gonna be able to take some of that burden off, and we're gonna be able to, you know, not pay some of these outside people to go after these grants. So, do I have a motion to ratify?
Well, some of the concern here,
Pardon?
I'm sorry to interrupt, but, some of the concern here when I'm looking at the economic development, a lot of us are worried about the overdevelopment of the area. I mean, none of us moved to the country to live in the city, and the parks are great, and utilizing the buildings that are already developed is great, but are we looking at tearing down more land to
Not
build?
as long as I'm around.
No,
That would never have my vote.
that's not what we're looking
Just
for.
had to
We're
say
not
that.
looking for the Walmarts or the Targets or
No,
anything like that.
no big
First of all,
boxes.
that's not what we're looking for. You know, most of our land in Dallas Township is zoned A1. I mean, so a lot of the things that are out there really would have to go through zoning and some of the other kinds of things. So, yeah, we're not looking at that, and I don't think, you know, I don't think, you know, we have the population out here for a big box store or anything like that. And in my 12 years, I've never been approached or heard anything about anything related to anything big. You know, yeah, you got the Wawas, you know, you got maybe another grocery store coming in, which would be wonderful. You know, you have a retirement, independent living that would come in.
Might get 3 or 4 more Dollar Generals?
Oh, God, no, I don't.
Yeah, there's not one on, that block over there. You're right. So no, you know, and they'd have to go through all of the zoning requirements
Right.
and so forth. And, you know, people would get upset maybe if they saw some of the things. I mean, let's face it, there's a development going up on, well, what was it, Country Club Road, that was gonna happen, and you know, the citizens came out and then they voiced their opinion, and it was not approved. So, you know,
Right.
I think we all came to the back mountain to be able to live more in a suburban area. We're more of a suburban, you know, bedroom community, and I think that's probably what's gonna continue for a long time.
Oh, I would hope so.
Well, it's a
But-
big
but
part
we
of the
still-
appeal.
But we
Yes, it
still
is.
need some of those services that, you know,
Right.
to make, you know, you don't wanna go, you know, hopefully if we get another grocery store, you know, but people tell me that people go all the way to Garrity's, or they're going up to Wegmans. Another grocery
That's
store
me.
might be something that everybody everybody stays here in the community and it keeps the dollars in the community and create jobs.
Oh, yeah, I miss Thomas's market, I ain't gonna lie.
Yeah.
Oh, I,
Thank you.
So,
But-
you know,
yeah, that's right, you were part of that.
Yes, yes. Well, no, it's just when we see economic, and I don't wanna make it sound like I don't want money coming into the township. I just, there's a lot of concern. I talked to a lot of people that were a little worried about the overdevelopment. So as long as we're, keeping our forests and,
I don't,
I keep my eyes wide open.
trust me, it's very difficult to get even some of these agents that come to the back mountain. I mean, I excuse me, I worked with Wawa for a while. I'm sorry.
Got a frog in
I
your
had a-
throat?
I had a cold, yeah. I worked with Wawa to get them to come look at the back mountain. I mean, originally, when they looked at the back mountain, they said, oh, too small, nothing. But after we took them around and showed them color discordia and so forth, now we got another service up there, and everybody seems to be pretty excited about that service.
well, yeah, have you had their
So-
coffee?
So I think those are the kinds of things that we wanna be able to bring services that people want to the back mountain, not things that, that supervisors want. I mean, I don't see any big industries coming in here, and, as with the data centers, I haven't heard one person say, oh, it's great to have data centers at this point. Everybody seems to be against it at this point. I don't think we have the energy in the back mountain, the grid, and I don't think we have enough water to be able to do that.
We don't.
So, anyway.
Right, no, and I understand the ordinances to give developers a hard time, and I know that if we don't have them, they can come in and kind of rule the roost there, and nobody wants that. I do have some concerns about it, but I can email you, Tom, about them before we have the meeting on the 14th. Like some of the setbacks aren't far enough and so on and so forth. I have concerns and reasons behind them, but I don't want to take up everybody's time. It is a holiday and it's not on the agenda.
Okay. All right, so do I have, a motion to ratify the advertising of the Economic Development Director position?
You do.
Second.
Supervisor Grant,
Yes.
Supervisor Martin,
Yes.
Supervisor Wagner.
Yes.
Okay. Number 3 was the supervisor's role as liaisons. All we did on that situation, we just want to make communication between the departments flow a little better. Bob met with, with Gary, I met with Brian already. Liz is gonna do administration, I'm gonna do police. And all it is just to make sure that the flow of communication, they're still running their departments, but if they need something or if there's some issues, they'll have a point person on the board to come to. Because before it was like hit or miss. If somebody had a question, they might have gone to Liz, and maybe she wasn't the right person to go to. So we just try to set the lines of communication. We're not taking away any of the power, we're just trying to keep the lines of communications open. So I'm gonna be with police, Bob's gonna be doing with road, and Liz will do administration. So that's all it is. Okay, the last is a resolution regarding Ecumenical Enterprise and the fair grant application. And what this is related to, they've applied for an application for an upgrade through the Pennsylvania,
Whatever PHARE is.
housing, to upgrade.
Housing.
Yeah, Pennsylvania Housing Affordability and Rehabilitation Enhancement.
Right, and what they wanna do is they wanna upgrade their restrooms, I believe.
Yes.
All their restrooms and so forth. So all it is a resolution that we would support that grant. So that's all that really relates to. They're not asking for us any money, just to support their grant. So do I have a motion to pass the resolution regarding the EEI grant application?
Need a motion?
Second.
Supervisor Grant,
Yes,
Supervisor Martin,
Yes.
Supervisor Wagner.
Yes.
okay. All right, this is a limited meeting. There's no other questions. We're gonna call for agenda to be motion to adjourn.
Motion.
Second.
Supervisor Grant,
Yes.
Supervisor Martin,
Yes.
Supervisor Wagner.
Yes.
And Happy New Year, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Is Marty
Happy New
okay?
Year.
Is he okay?
Yeah, like, I just talked to him just a couple weeks ago, and like, they're at the, planning commission meeting, and some of them were joking about, like, they're gonna be retiring soon, and he said he had a couple years left, and it's just kind of weird that just a couple weeks later, he's retired. So I was just like, that just, it's a little weird, that's why I'm just wondering if he's all right. I hope he's okay.
Oh, he's fine.
It's all right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Much, sir. How are you?
He worked for 30-some years for the township. He was eligible to retire at 55. So,
I want to be eligible to
He's
retire.
been with the township forever. He was
Forever,
one
yeah.
master.
That's why I was surprised.
Right.
So, well, no, thank you for clarity on that. And if you see him, tell him I wish him well and happy retirement.
Alan's here, so hopefully you have that paper.
that's gonna be, that's what you put on